Hi, I'm Sonnet with Sonnet's Garden Blooms. I want to welcome you all to my channel. Today's video is going to be part 3 of the vintage inspired spring decor. You guys loved part 1 and part 2 so much. I have decided to also give you a part 3 and a part 4. So today I did 5 more vintage inspired spring decor projects. Some of the projects were from recent thrift hauls that I just recently did, and other items I had laying around. But everything that I used in today's video, like the IOD transfers and the paint, you can find on my website at www.sonnetsgardenblooms.com. So I want you to know you can find those items there if you decide to recreate any of these projects for yourself. All right, well, I hope you guys enjoy. For our first project today, I am taking a window out of the stash of windows that I have. I was lucky enough to have gotten a huge supply of all vintage windows from my cousin. So with this window, what we want to do first is we want to clean it up. It has been sitting out on, it's kind of in a sheltered area, but it is dirty. So I'm going to take some Windex, washing both sides of the window. I then want to make sure that there's no chips or loose paint. I still want to take advantage of all that chippy goodness on the window. So once I get it all washed up and make sure that none of the paint is going to continue to chip off, I am going to seal it all, seal it in. I am using Minwax polyacrylic. I'm using the matte finish, and I am going to just put 2 coats of poly on the entire frame. Like I said, just to seal it all in so that nothing will chip off. So the next step is we flip it over and we're on the back side. I'm using 2 colors of DIY paint. I'm starting off with Skeleton Key, and I'm going to completely coat the entire back of the actual window. I want to even get the actual back side of the frame just to really finish it off. I'm a real stickler about that. I really want my pieces that I sell to be completely finished. After I get it completely coated with the Skeleton Key, I'm going in then with Mint Chip, and I am going to start doing a blending technique. So I'm going to just blend the 2 colors together. My goal here is I didn't want one solid color. I wanted almost like a blended look where it almost looked like a sky. So the actual transfer had that, on that, once we flip it over, it's going to look like a blended effect. And I really love how this actually turned out. I was nervous because this was the first time that I did attempt to do something like this, but it turned out great. Now we're going in with a hairdryer to speed up the drying process, and this definitely helped with that. So this is what it turned out like. I just tried to blend the colors together very erratically. So this is the back side. And on the front side, I'm really liking how that looks. So I'm gonna flip it over so you can see. It looks real kind of like a blue sky. Just really cool. I like it a lot. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I am going to seal the back side. And I like I said, I like that irregular look to it. It looks, there's some mint chip coming through, some Skeleton Key. I really like it. So I'm going to seal it, and we're gonna then hopefully it will work and it will seal it. I'm gonna let it dry, and then we're gonna come back and we are going to apply the transfer to the front of the window. So I'm gonna just seal it with the polyacrylic from Minwax. I'm just using the clear matte, and I'm just gonna, I guess, just dump some on here. So we're going to completely cover the whole entire back side, even the frame, with that clear coat and let it dry. Once that back side is dry, then we're going to flip it over and put the transfer on. After a little debate, I did finally settle on Midnight Garden as the transfer of choice. I really liked this because it fit the whole window. So what I started off doing is trimming off that bottom piece so that when I laid that transfer down, it was nice and snug to the bottom of the window. And then after I apply this piece of it, I will go back and then apply the top portion. Initially, what I did here is I took my transfer stick and I rubbed all over the transfer just to give it a good adherence. And then I start on one side and I start rubbing, and I take the transfer backing and I just start pulling a little bit. If a piece of the transfer does not stick, I just lay it right back down and rub, and it goes right on. And I just continue to do this until the whole transfer is off of that backing. I am absolutely loving how this turned out, and what an awesome way to use like a vintage window. I am going to definitely be making more of these. Wait till you guys see the finished product. But here you can see just another angle how I'm continuing to rub it and pull that backing sheet. This doesn't take that long. You just want to keep making sure that you're not missing a piece of the transfer, especially when you get to the very edge. I very carefully just made sure that everything was completely off as I was rubbing. And then at the end, you do what's called burnishing it. You burnish, you take that backing and you just rub all over to really adhere the entire transfer on that piece. So here is a peek of what we've done so far. We have the bottom half of the transfer on, and doesn't it look great? Look at all that chippy goodness. So now we're on to the top portion of the transfer. The nice thing about IOD transfers is that they actually fit right inside of each other. So I just lined up the bottom transfer to the top transfer to that bottom transfer, and I laid it down, smoothed it out, and I just started doing the exact same thing that I did with the bottom one. I started on one edge and I just started rubbing with my transfer stick and slightly peeled just to make sure the whole transfer was applied. But really, this is such an easy process, and I absolutely love how this turned out. I really wish I would have tried this much sooner. Honestly, I don't know why I held off for so long. And the back of the window, I think it turned out great as well. I am definitely going to do a scratch test on it to see if it holds up, but I wouldn't see why it wouldn't, because with the DIY paint, it adheres so well because it is a clay-based paint that I haven't had any issues with any of my other projects where the DIY paint scratches off or anything like that. My final step here is burnishing it, and what do you guys think? How do you guys like it? I absolutely love this project, and I cannot wait to make more. this project, I picked up these peat pots at Walmart, and initially my vision here was we were going to paint them white, and I was going to take a transfer brocante and use that on the outside of it. My vision definitely changed after they were painted. And then we're going to create little nests with these. I'm trying to add more and more spring to my booths, and this is a really easy, inexpensive way to add a bit of spring by creating little bird nests in these peat pots. So we're going to start by painting them white. I am using white Swan, and I don't do a complete coverage. It's more of like a shabby look to it. I want that peat pot, still to peek through. I am absolutely loving how these turned out. Next, we are going to paint the eggs, and I painted 3 white, the white Swan, 3 like a light blue, and then 3 a creamy color. So now that they're painted, this is when my vision changed. I decided we were going to leave them just plain white, and we're going to take that Spanish moss and we are going to create little bird nests in each of the containers. And then we are going to just add just a little bit of that green just to add a little bit more color to the bird's nest. And then we're going to insert the eggs. This is all held together with hot glue. So after I get these all situated, I'm going to add some hot glue around the edges of each of the nests. And then I'm going to adhere each of the eggs also with hot glue. Afterwards, what I did is I took some twine and I just wrapped twine around each of the peat pots to just finish it off. If you remember from my recent haul, I just found this pot. I decided I wanted to add something to it. So I had that Brocante bird transfer that I cut in half and I used on a different project. So I still had half of the birds left. They fit perfect on this pot. So I put them on there, but because it was a rounded surface, the birds, there was a couple imperfections. So I added some leaves and flowers to try to hide that. I still was not entirely satisfied with it. So what I decided to do, I've seen others take like a sanding block and kind of sand it just to make it look aged, like the pot itself. And I did do that. I'm pretty happy with it. I am going to apply yet a clear coat to seal this all in, but actually in the end, it does look aged. From one of my recent hauls, I picked up this little bird cage, and the tags on the bottom were $30. I paid $5 for it. To upcycle this, it's going to be real simple. We're taking Spanish moss. We're going to hot glue that in the bottom of the bird cage to make it look like a nest. I did have these eggs that I had extra baking soda. It's half baking soda, half chalk paint, and it creates a nice texture on these eggs. And I had extra, so I just painted these eggs up, and I wanted to add a little white wax to them. This was the paint I used was Old 57, so it was a bit bright, so I just tamed it down with a little white wax. recent haul, I ended up finding these 3 wreaths, and I wanted to use them in a display. So I want to hang them. I'm going to try to find maybe like a window to hang them on, but what I want to do is we're going to make the wreaths to go on the window today. I have some lamb's ear. This is stuff that I had picked up at the Walmart, and I'm just going to take that and we're going to put some lamb's ear in the wreaths. And then I had these from last year and I had them in a container. Unfortunately, one of my biggest pet peeves is when people come into my booth and destroy my stuff. So I don't know what it is, but sometimes they end up wrecking some of my items, and then I have to try to fix them, and I had to pull those all apart. They were actually in a container and they were super cute. Unfortunately, like I said, some individual decided to wreck them. So, all right. So what we're gonna do is we are just going to add some lamb's ear to this wreath, and I'm just gonna tuck it in. And that's why I like working too with the grapevine, because you can just tuck it right in and it holds really well. And we're going to keep doing that all the way around, adding the lamb's ear, and then we're going to start adding the lavender. And we're just going to take little sprigs of lavender and tuck it in between each of the lamb's ear. The wreath turns out so cute, and it just has a really great spring vibe to it. So what did you guys all think? What was your favorite project? I'll have to tell you, this is my favorite project right here. I loved the vintage window. I'm so excited. I have so many windows that I need to use. I always, slowly but surely pull from my stash of windows and do different projects, but this is amazing. I had so much fun doing it, and I think they're gonna be definitely going over very well in my booth. So if you guys haven't been to my channel before, I want to thank you for joining me today. Go ahead, hit that subscribe button. If this is the type of channel that you do like, you're going to find a lot of DIY, thrift hauls, thrift flips, really a day in the life of a small business owner. You can turn on that notification bell, so every Monday and Friday when I do upload a video, you'll be notified. And if you like today's video, go ahead, give me a thumbs up. And I love hearing from you guys. I want to know what your favorite project was. We will see you Friday. I'm hoping I'm going to get into that Water Street vintage booth and get it going, like totally stacked. I have been working diligently, but life always seems to get in the way. So we will see you guys Friday. Have a great week. Bye.